3 to 5 minutes of your unpublished prose. And the first person who's signed up is Fred Afflerbach.
Yes.
Hey.
Very well done.
Fred, welcome.
I didn't get your name.
I'm Becky, actually. Nice to meet you.
Okay. Becky, thank you. Well, first thing I want to say, and I may get hung with the guitar string for saying this, but in a town that's all music all the time, I want to say thank you, Malvern Books. We love you. We're so glad that you're here. We need more literature. We need more translations. We need more poetry. We need more places like Malvern Books. I'm going to read from a novel that I've completed, and I'm out searching for publishers. You gentlemen can relate to that. This is a story of a 17-year-old young man who's fleeing a tyrant of a grandfather to go find his other grandfather, who he thinks is a folk hero. The grandfather he's looking for, he calls Grandpa Truck, because he remembers growing up in Philadelphia that this grandfather rolled into town telling all these tall tales, having all this fun, taking them for rides in his truck. He remembers that Grandpa had one arm was crimson brown from hanging out the window in the sun, and the other one was milk white. So he has to get away, and he sneaks out of town to get away from his tyrant grandfather, and he's looking for the good grandfather, and he's in the middle of Tennessee, and he gets a ride with a kind of a strange man. Do you know how fast you have to drive to outrun your headlights? 90, 100, 120? Take a guess. Ever heard of anyone doing that? I performed such a feat on the salt flats in western Utah. Interstate so flat and straight, you could drive with your eyes closed, feet on the dash. And here's another road riddle. You know how many white stripes are in a mile? I counted up to 198. Then I missed a curve, rolled into a ditch outside Walla Walla, Washington. Trunk popped open and dictionary spewed out, covering a quarter mile of the median. Say, you don't talk much. I mean, are you picking up what I'm putting down? That's okay. People say I talk enough for a room full of politicians and preachers, but I'm just practicing the language, harvesting the beautiful bounty from our literary seeds our forefathers planted when they learned to use their tongues and mandibles for more than grinding nuts and licking their gums. You know, without language, we'd be savages, grunting and gesticulating. Of course, for some of us out here on the protracted road, that holds true. No offense there to your truck driving grandfather in particular. I understand from what you said when you first got in the car that he was well read. Taking poetry volumes with him on the road and penning those postcards from across the country to you and your twin sister. But alas, we are in a crisis in this country until we make the effort to improve our lexicon. Anyway, about truckers. My Ford blew a tire once in the Nevada desert, and I didn't have a jack, but a trucker stopped and changed a flat, and since then I felt an obligation to remember truckers share the same common denominator, despite what we drive and where we're from. I mean, on the road we live in this suspended state of animation, and we're all vulnerable to a degree. And most of us revere the road because it allows us the freedom to be alone with our thoughts. And you know, sometimes that's the only way I can have an intelligent conversation. Not that anyone would get much of a word in edgewise. So that's my story. What's yours? Looks like you're withering away there if you don't resent my blunt rhetoric. I've seen some troubled youth before, and you've got the weight of a string of adverbs on your shoulders. Oh my, I hadn't noticed. When did the poor lad fall asleep? Don't often get a passenger, and look what happens when you do. Oh well, the boy is distressed, destitute, and desperate. Need to just let him be. Let's concentrate on making the Arkansas line and the opportunity for correspondence with my sweetheart, my beloved, my jewel, Josephina. Oh, how I adore that woman. The Ford Galaxy bounced along across western Tennessee, snout in the air, tail dragging, and approached the Mississippi River at Memphis. A large break in the asphalt shook the car and woke Jeremy. He looked out the window in a daze. The broad and muddy river meandered far below the interstate. If a car fell in there, boy, it would sink like an anchor. Anxious to reach Oklahoma, Percival pushed the vehicle across the expansive bridge and down into Arkansas. The Galaxy chased a patchwork of cracks and potholes across the Mississippi floodplain. Shotgun shacks and decrepit buildings on stilts disappeared into the rearview mirror. Percival spurred the Galaxy to a speed where the car finally leveled off, like a ski boat planing out. Jeremy dozed. The car skimmed across the broken road across Arkansas into Little Rock, where it weaved through lanes jammed with cars, buses, and trucks. Percival refueled the vehicle west of town and with a keen eye for the highway patrol, chased the horizon across western Arkansas. The scarlet sun sank low in the sky, winked, and ducked behind low-hanging pink and violet clouds. A few miles after crossing the Oklahoma state line, Jeremy woke to the sound of Percival sniffling and wiping his nose with a white pocket handkerchief. Jeremy sat up, looked out the window. A rest stop, dark and empty. "Are you okay?" Jeremy asked, miffed at the man's sudden turn in demeanor. "I miss my Josephina," Percival said, looking at Jeremy through watery eyes. "I know I'm obnoxious and boorish, but she accepts me for what I am. And I'm in heaven when we're together. She's... See what a hold she has on me? I cannot speak, and as you know, I tend to blather on." "I hadn't noticed," Jeremy said. The dashboard gauges illuminated Percival's face, pink from crying, bottom lip sagging like a trout. Embarrassed for the strange and eccentric man, Jeremy waited for Percival to pull himself together. Percival touched up his face with the handkerchief. Jeremy asked, "What are you talking about?" "This is a prearranged drop spot for the letter," Percival explained, his voice muffled by the damp cloth. He finished wiping his nose and folded the handkerchief into a neat square. "The letter must always be taped to the underside of the picnic table located at the westernmost point." "I still don't get it." "I'm picking up a letter from Josephina in this rest area, and yes, I know what a post office box is for, but this is exotic and quixotic, and that's how we do things. I shall retrieve the missive and read it late tonight. Perhaps this time she'll be ready to slow down long enough for a rendezvous. Good heavens, memories of that week in Ashtabula has warmed my soul for countless nights." "Does Josephina sell dictionaries too?" "She's a travel writer, working on a book about offbeat Americans. Been working on it for years. We've had this long-distance relationship for, well, a long time." Percival retrieved a flashlight from under the seat. "Wish me luck," he said, and skittered across the rest area toward the picnic table, where he expected to find his lover's correspondence. Shortly he returned with a small, damp, white envelope covered with spider webs. "Must have been placed here weeks ago," Percival said, and poked Jeremy on the shoulder. "Oh, it must be pregnant with expectation and elucidation about our forthcoming engagement." "Aren't you going to open it?" Jeremy asked. "In front of you? Heavens, no. A document such as this must be read in privacy." Percival held the envelope to his chest. I'll wait until I have taken a hot shower and am snuggled in bed, reading by the dim light of a motel room bedside lamp." Percival reached over the seat and opened an ice chest full of Diet Cola. He grabbed 3 cans, one for the young lad and 2 for himself. Percival chugged one in a long gulp, a dreadful habit, swilling the soda, 7-8 per day, but one has his vices. The Ford continued westbound down the interstate. Percival's right hand clutching the steering wheel, left hand clutching the letter. The big V8 engine chewed up chunks of Oklahoma as if Percival was again trying to outrun his taillights. Jeremy's head felt hard against the passenger side window glass, mouth open wide. 20 more miles and Percival let go of the envelope. He leaned forward and slid it inside a dictionary afloat on the dashboard, a safe place for his treasure. Under a moonless sky, the Ford Galaxy assaulted Oklahoma in a westerly fury. Insects had peppered the ornament all day and all night. Bugs splattered yet undaunted, Percival peered into the dark night ahead. Thank you.